I don't think there's a better place to begin thinking about the meaning of life than Christopher Nolan's 2000 film Memento.
You don't know who you are.
I'm Leonard Shelby. I'm from San Francisco.
That's who you were. That's not what you become.
About a man searching for his wife's murderer, but who is also unable since his wife's murder to form new memories.
Amnesia.
No. It's different from that. I have no short-term memory. I know who I am. I know all about myself. Since my injury, I can't make new memories. Everything fades. If we talk for too long, I'll forget how we started, and next time I see you, I'm not going to remember this conversation.
Because of his condition, Leonard is constantly awakening to a present he knows nothing about.
So where are you? You're in some motel room? You just wake up and you're in a motel room. There's the key.
Intermittently, at times 15 minutes or so, the past fades from him like the undeveloping Polaroid at the beginning of the film, and he must repeatedly reorient and rebuild his sense of direction.
Okay, so what am I doing? Oh, I'm chasing this guy. No, he's chasing me.
What's the last thing that you do remember?
His one constant is his last long-term memory,
My wife,
That's sweet.
dying.
and the lingering desire he has to kill her murderer. But what's most interesting about Memento is that it tries as much as possible to place the audience in Leonard's subjective position. The opening scene plays out in rewind, hinting at the structure to come.
All backwards, man.
Hereafter, scenes and sequences run forward in time, but only to the extent that Leonard is aware of his present. At the moment his brain is unable to record a new memory, the sequence ends in a cut to an unconnected black and white scene.
Who is this?
This scene is then followed by another colored sequence, which chronologically precedes the one that came before. In this way, the film progresses backwards, sequence by sequence, through the moments of Leonard's forgotten past. And it's the severing of the temporal relationship between cause and effect which denies the audience the same memory that Leonard is denied.
It's all backwards. I mean, like, maybe you get an idea about what you want to do next, but you don't remember what you just did.
Teddy. Don't believe his lies. He is the one. Kill him. I finally found him. How long have I been looking?
From the beginning, we know the person Leonard identifies as his wife's killer, but like Leonard, we don't know how he's arrived at this conclusion. So the film's mystery becomes an investigation into the reasons which led Leonard to kill this man.
Beg my wife's forgiveness before I blow your brains out.
Leonard, you don't know what's going on. You don't even know my name.
Teddy.
That's because you read it off a fucking picture.
Without memory, physical objects and messages become our key to unlocking the past. Like evidence from a crime scene, they allow Leonard to reconstruct what's been going on.
Remember Sammy Jankis?
A tattoo on Leonard's hand reminds him of the fate of a man who suffered with this same condition and who Leonard once investigated before his wife's death.
Sammy wrote himself endless amounts of notes. But he got mixed up. I have a more graceful solution to the memory problem.
Leonard thus understands his own condition and is systematic in passing information to his future
I'm
self.
disciplined and organized. I use habit and routine to make my life possible.
Taking Polaroid pictures, writing and tattooing notes on himself, and keeping an annotated police file. As these mementos stand in for Leonard's memory, they become the symbol of memory itself.
Lenny, you can't trust a man's life to your little notes and pictures.
Why not?
Because your notes could be unreliable.
Memory's unreliable.
Oh, please.
No, really. Memory's not perfect. It's not even that good. Ask the police. Look, memory can change the shape of a room. It can change the color of a car. And memories can be distorted. They're just an interpretation. They're not a record. And they're irrelevant if you have the facts.
Leonard and Teddy are both right. Memory isn't simply what's happened. It's a mental reproduction of the past, which we see through our present context. And it's this additional context which changes what we remember. This was seen early on in the history of filmmaking. Lev Kuleshov, a Russian filmmaker in the 1910s, found that when he edited together the same static shot of an expressionless male actor with other static shots, a different meaning or memory was created in the minds of his audience. When the shot of the male actor was coupled with a girl in the coffin, his audience saw grief. When it was a bowl of soup, they saw hunger, and when it was an attractive woman, they saw lust and desire. Neither the shot of the man or the static shot was ultimately meaningful. The second shot was defining what the audience saw in the first. Memory isn't a fixed record. It's our interpretation of the facts as we look backwards with new information. The meaning of Leonard's records are also dependent on context, and his failing to know that context continually causes him to distort their meaning. It's a problem hinted at early on in the film when the list of isolated verses from the Bible are juxtaposed with the notes Leonard writes himself. Like a Bible verse, the meaning of Leonard's notes aren't self-contained. An individual note, as with a verse, ultimately says nothing about its meaning or significance. Its meaning is also dependent on a contextual system, and the system people use to interpret these isolated pieces of data can easily be wrong and lead to a distortion. Lacking his own contextual framework, Leonard becomes the manipulated tool of others.
Oh shit, this is the wrong room. You're in 304 now. I'm sorry, I fucked up.
This is not my room?
No, come on, let's go.
Then why is this my handwriting?
This was your room, but now you're in 304.
When was I in here?
Last week, but then I rented you another room on top of it.
So how many rooms am I checked into in this shithole?
Just 2. So far.
Well, at least you're being honest about ripping me off.
Well, you're not gonna remember anyway.
You don't have to be that honest, Bert.
But ultimately, it's Leonard who manipulates himself. Leonard isn't simply recording the facts, he's changing the facts as events change, even as he knows he will fail to remember that he's changed them and why. Like a crazed conspiracy theorist forever seeking and finding a second gunman, Leonard needs a riddle to solve in order to deal with his grief.
Do I lie to myself to be happy? In your case, Teddy. Yes, I will.
It's all backwards,
Backwards.
I mean, I'm exactly the opposite.
Why is Memento backwards? Ultimately, the film wants us to see in Leonard's problem the mirror of our own.
We all need mirrors to remind ourselves who we are.
Soren Kierkegaard, the father of existentialism, once noted, "It's quite true what philosophy says, that life must be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards," which principle, the more one thinks it through, ends exactly with the thought that temporal life can never be understood precisely because I can at no instant find complete rest in which to adopt the position backwards. As Memento substitutes the unknown future for a forgotten past, we're meant to see that the unknown future is just as important for determining present meaning. In the same way Leonard is unable to accurately interpret his present without knowing the past, so we are unable to truly understand our present without first knowing the future. We are forever editing the meaning of our lives as new moments are being added to our lives. To know life's meaning, or if it has one, we must first see its end.
How can you read that again?
It's good.
Yeah, but you've read it like 1,000 times.
I enjoy it.
I always thought the pleasure of a book was in wanting to know what happens next.
And that leads me to my next video on Arrival.